Hello. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Platform, for the invitation. And my name is Christian de Reis. I work at Kadawittfeldarchitektur, and I'm very excited to talk to you about one of our unbuilt projects, and that's also near to our hearts. It's the Soundbox on the Rhine Terrace. But before I start, I'd like to talk a little bit about our office. We are a German-based architecture office founded in 1999 in Germany and Austria. And we have grown now to over 180 employees in locations in Aachen, in Berlin, in Munich, and now more recently also in Cologne. Our project portfolio spans a variety of typologies from offices and skyscrapers up to educational buildings and schools, and also many cultural buildings. One of our most recently completed projects is the DFB campus, facilities for the German Football Association in Frankfurt, as well as right now in planning the Komische Oper in Berlin, opera concert hall in Berlin. So in the thematic of cultural building as well as concert hall, I'd like to present the Beethoven Concert Hall in Bonn. And Bonn, actually, back then, during the Second World War, was in West Germany, and this was as well the capital of West Germany. Berlin, the capital of East Germany. It is located close to Aachen and Cologne, so many of you may have visited already, as well as the Rhine that flows through the city. It is also the birth city of Ludwig van Beethoven, which thematically is the point of the concert hall. And I want to talk a little bit about the plan area and the project and the competition itself. So the competition was set for 15 architecture offices internationally and was actually written out in 2014, and it was divided into two phases. It took place in Bonn, close to the city center, and on the red area you can see is our plan area right next to the existing Beethoven Hall. Right next to it is flowing the Rhine River. Interestingly enough, on the area we have the Rhine level, the shore level and city level that have weathered several floods in the 1990s as well as in the 1800s where the water rose above 50 meters. So you can see the existing Beethoven Hall to the right, the plan area to the left, as well as the avenue that runs parallel to the Rhine, and the Kennedy Bridge that connects the eastern part of Bonn with the western city. So, not to confuse, we have on the right the Beethoven Hall built by Siegfried Wolzke, as well as the landscape planning done by Heinrich Randerschall. It was constructed and finalized in 1959 and went through an extension period in which they added seminar rooms to the left of the Beethoven Hall. On the left-hand side, where the plan area is situated, there used to be a bunker, which was then overbuilt. And it was part of the competition as well to see how we can handle with a basement that used to be a bunker. For us in the office, we started relatively early with sketches and building models to try to find out what's the most suitable landscape to carry on from the existing Beethoven Hall. That brought us also to start mocking up the facade in model studies. But first we started with the landscape plateau. So we have the existing Beethoven Hall on the right-hand side with the landscape by Randerschall. And for us it was very important, now that we have a completely empty area, to work with it and extend it to an area where we feel most comfortable, also to add a certain positive aspect to the avenue where the people will follow the Rhine River. And of course, as it being a concert hall, it's very important to know how do you set a building that is respectful with the height differences, once with the Beethoven Hall to the right and a residential area to the left. So we had the idea to use the Greek amphitheater as an inspiration and set the concert hall down below, so that if you look at it from the avenue area, the concert area where the instruments would be playing is actually at the same level as the avenue and the riverbank. So this is what it looks like in this scheme. You have the landscape that plays on top of the plan area, the hall that it gets inlaid into the ground, as well as the shore and the Rhine right next to it. This makes it possible to have a foyer that is integrated to the upper plateau level that is connected to the inner city of Bonn, as well as then having great sights to the over the river Rhine into Bonn itself. Now, of course, how do you close it all off? We've played with relatively organic structures for the plateau itself. So we took inspiration by the river and played a little bit with, of course, also the musical instrument theme, and took from a string instrument the corpus and made it also as a sound body to put on top of our concert hall. This also looks like a conch or shell that has been formed by the river and taken its organic shape. This makes it possible to have exciting views from the building to the city, also a respectful space between the existing Beethoven Hall and its new concert hall. We keep a viewing access to the inner city, as well as possibility of many viewing angles towards the Rhine, wherever you are inside the building. So this is what it looks like in the model. You can already see, so if you are in the avenue, it lends itself to be very open. It's really a natural flow where the people can enter the building and just go towards it up the step-like staircase, where you are greeted first with a glass facade and then the building shell on top. It also is very respectful with its surrounding buildings, as well as the Beethoven Hall that's right next to it. And it is possible to connect both. Of course, it wasn't realized, but we had plans for underground connections or elevators in which this would all just make it possible to create one big musical campus in the theme of Ludwig van Beethoven. This is what it looks like when you enter it from the avenue. So right now, detached downstairs, you see the landscape plateau that carries on its green language to our concept. And on top, you already can see a balcony that's set into the conch shell, as well as terraces, of which you have the amazing view over the avenue to the Rhine River. And on the other side, you feel the building really floating in the air. It's like levitating above the avenue. It has a clear indication of where you're supposed to go up. And if you go now up the stairs to the left, you either greeted by the entrance to the concert hall, or you follow its main street and then are directly into the old central city of Bonn. One important aspect of the competition was also to have a very multifunctional building, and we decided to use its foyers that are surrounding the concert hall to be flexible. So you have the possibility of having foyers that can be smaller, more intimate concert areas, a bistro area that is flexible to be put wherever the client would desire. And we would arrange all of the important facilities for wardrobe, artists, instruments, and technical facilities the closest possible to the shelf. So you get a very concentrated building that is actually well optimized. This is what it looks like from the inside. So we've just entered the building. We've passed the ticket shop. On the right-hand side, we have the wardrobe entry. The language of the facade is also reflected on the inside. You have the stepping stones now inverted that were building up on the outside, now building down. And wherever there's an entry necessary to go either to the concert hall itself or to go to the artist's room, the flow opens up for you to go into those rooms. And already on the side you can see an indication of the Rhine. And the deeper you go, if you flow around the concert hall, you get this view to the Kennedy Bridge, to the Rhine River, and of course, again, this multifunctionality of these rooms where you can put up to 100 people in these foyers, or like make galas and dinner seatings, which is all possible. And once you go up, this is the balcony that I just spoke of. We have the VIP area, in which you have the same thing, where this is the only area that has the balcony, but the flow itself just makes this room very nice just to be inside. Now, of course, for the concert hall, the most important thing is actually the concert hall itself, where the music is played. And we decided to go for a hybrid arena and shoebox structure that lends itself to be very small, but still have the possibility of a maximum seating in which everybody is surrounding the playing area in the middle. This is what it looked like. As I said, we had a two-phase competition. This was the rendering for the first stage. We pretty much then tried to find a nice atmosphere for inside, or acoustic side, but also for the people, atmospheric, having these stepping stones that now from the outside were very small and you could walk on them. Now you can sit on them and sit inside them, so the balconies formed very naturally. And of course, then you have an amazing and very charming playing area in the middle. In the second phase, when we were selected amongst three to carry on with the design, we streamlined some of those lines. So the stepping stones that you just saw were a little bit more streamlined to reflect the acoustics a little bit better. And we added a few elements to it to make the sound and the acoustics to improve them. For that, we worked a lot in models in order to improve, to find out which reflection areas we could improve, as well as based on the 3D model that we created now over 10 years ago. We also managed to add some acoustic language and found relatively easily out that some of the areas that we had in the first phase weren't really reflecting the sound where we needed it to. So the adjustments were made thanks to this method. We worked with Nagata Acoustics as well as Nicholas Edwards, two specialists in acoustics in this project. And this was the final product of it. Again, it just reflects this elegance we had outside. Back to the inside, we streamlined the playing field in the middle, where now the artists are, and we have now a very round and open canopy on the top that can be with certain technical elements then lowered down to have a more intimate concert experience, for example, for quartets, where you wouldn't want to have this big open area. And therefore you can have operas and different types of concerts in this. On the side you have then patios, so now this is directed towards the existing Beethoven Hall as a connection element. We decided to bring a little bit more of natural light into the building, where the artists would, for example, enter their rooms, but also create smaller areas where they can just like train or play before they go to the concert, but also have small meeting and coffee points. This is of course, the night view. This is the time you actually go to the concert most of the time. And this is now the other side. We've only been seeing the Rhine side. This is now the city side. So if you come from the inner city of Bonn, you are greeted with this view. The shape of the building now clearly states the address to where you enter the building. A light installation makes it clear that something is happening inside this building. And it really makes you already from entering the building the feeling that you're going into a special place to listen to music. Now, the building wasn't realized. It wasn't built, sadly. That's why it's here. And at the end of the second phase, 3 finalists completely finished their drawings and all of their material, and we gave it in. That was it. It was David Chipperfield, it was us, and it was Valentini. And then the sponsors of the competition decided to abort the whole thing. So we were like this close to finishing up this competition and maybe winning, and then everything fell down, either through financial issues or disagreements with the city of Bonn on how this was supposed to be built. This happened in early 2015, and of course for us was a very sad moment, but we just carried on, and we thought we learned a lot from this. We managed to get a new many new contacts internationally, and learned a lot about how to build a concert hall. One of those then actually came into fruition a few years later, where in 2019 there was another international competition in Germany as well, this time in our new capital then, and this was the Komische Oper in Berlin. And we managed to win this one. In 2020 the results then came out, and you can see on the left-hand side that's the existing Komische Oper Berlin. And on the right-hand side the competition was to extend the whole building that had been going through a relatively tumultuous history of construction, reconstruction, destruction, and then reconstruction again. And the inside, so this is what it looks inside, has still its charm, but its technical faculties, its acoustics are just not modern enough to be kept to this date. And thanks to the competition, of course, of the Festspielhaus in Bonn, we were able to use that knowledge and further it into the Komische Oper. But funnily enough, that's not the end of the story for the plot itself. So the competition got cancelled, everything went flat, and we didn't hear anything from it anymore. And after a few years, another competition got written out by an investor who had bought then the plot and wanted to do something else with it. And one of it was to build a hotel at the area, and we participated in that competition and won it. This is the Hotel am Erzberger Ufer, which is at the exact same location, it's the exact same plot. And we managed to, of course, build it now over the last few years. It was realized now in 2021. And it delivers some of the promises we made with the concert hall before, to deliver a relatively calm and nice experience and the amazing views to the Rhine. Of course, it's not a concert hall, but we're very happy that we did manage to still build something on the same plot we just a few years ago had an unrealized project. That would be all from me. Thank you very much.